Hi everyone, welcome to this practice. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Katie and today we're doing a deep stretch for your back in order to gain some spinal flexibility. Stretching out the back and creating that spinal flexibility is a great way to get all over flexibility in your body. If you are interested in learning how to become more flexible, I do have a full playlist which goes through all of the different body parts and can help you with that goal. Today we'll be sitting on the mat for a while, so it might be more comfortable to have a yoga block or a cushion to sit on. So you can go ahead and get ready and then we'll meet back here on the mat. We'll begin today in Cobblers pose or butterfly pose. So you can come to sit on the mat and then you're just bringing the soles of your feet together, letting your knees drop towards the edges of the mat. To make this more comfortable, you can sit up on a block or a cushion or a blanket, whatever you have. When you elevate your hips a little bit, it does make it easier to sit on the mat. So you can find your most comfortable position here. The closer you have your feet to your body, the more of an intense stretch you're going to find. If it's too intense, just move your feet away from you. Your hands can just come to grab your feet or wherever they naturally hold. And then if your knees are protesting a little bit here, if they feel uncomfortable, again, you can take blankets or cushions and put them in underneath, and that's going to make it a bit more comfortable. So settling into your pose now, finding whatever is most comfortable for you. If you're happy to just sit here with your spine straight, you can do so. Or to take the stretch a little bit further, you can start to hinge at your hips, keeping your spine straight, but coming into more of a fold here. And if it feels good, you can drop your head down. When you get into your pose, you can find your breath, starting to send nice deep breaths all the way down into your belly, letting the breath rise up into your chest, maybe into your throat. And then each time you exhale, slowly releasing your breath from your belly, from your chest, and from your throat. Each time your mind drifts away, just take it back to your breath. Use the sensations that you're feeling within your body to keep you anchored here. And we're just training our mind here each time it drifts away, taking it back to your body. And we'll keep this practice throughout our entire yoga session here. And we're just staying here for a couple of minutes. And you're probably really feeling that stretch within your hips. And opening up the hips like this is going to bring a lot more flexibility to your spine. Once the hips get tight, unfortunately that travels up into the spine as well. So keep sending your breath down into the bowl of your pelvis, helping open everything up. And don't worry if your knees are way up in the air here, that's fine. We never worry about how it looks, we're always just focusing on how it feels. And the more you practice, the more you'll find your knees are closer to the floor. So don't worry, it all comes with time. And just a few more breaths now. If your body has opened up a little bit, it might invite you to go a little bit further. With each inhalation, you can lengthen up your spine. And each time you exhale, you might be able to sink your nose a little bit lower. But always listening to your body and never forcing anything. One more deep breath in. Long breath out. Now you can use your next inhalation to lift you back up, reversing on out of your pose. From here, you can take your legs out wide apart. We'll come into a wide-legged seated fold. So you can stay up on your block if that feels comfortable. If it's helping you out, you can leave it there. Take your feet as wide apart as you can, keeping your feet slightly flexed so your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Same thing here now. We'll inhale to lengthen up through the spine. As you exhale, you're hinging forward at your hips, walking your hands away from you, and then maybe dropping your head down. Coming into our fold. You can keep as much of a bend in your knees as you need here, and you can even have the soles of your feet on the floor if that feels better. And again, here we'll be here for a couple of minutes, so make sure you're as comfortable as you can be. And then take your time to settle into your pose. Once you feel settled, you can look for your breath again. And start to cultivate those nice deep belly breaths. And we're still opening up the hips here, but also getting that nice stretch into your lower back. And also opening up all of the vertebrae. So each time you breathe in, you're lengthening your spine, creating that space. Each time you breathe out, maybe sinking your nose a little bit closer to the floor. Now on your next breath in, you can start to lift yourself back up, taking a moment here. And now we're going to fold over our right leg. So this time you can inhale, reaching your hands up towards the ceiling, lengthening your spine, and then rotate to look over your right leg. On your exhalation, hinging at your hips and just dropping your hands down wherever they land, either side of that right leg, or if it feels better to grip your right shin, you could do that. Now we're just finding our stretch in this side. Try to keep both of your sit bones pressing into the mat, resisting that temptation to just lean over to the right here. You might start to find that stretch within your left side body. So just send your breath into it, using your inhalation to loosen it up, and then your exhalation to carry it out of your body. Nice deep breaths again. And just a few more breaths here, focusing your mind completely on them. If you've drifted away, that's fine. Just coax yourself back into your body here. And remember to keep your shoulders nice and loose, down away from your ears, relaxing that space in your upper back as well. Now we're going to move into a side bend. You can always just stay here if you're happy here, but if you do want to come into that side bend, you can take your right hand, bring your forearm down to the inside of your right leg. Now maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't, it's fine either way. Or you can just come to grab your right foot or your right shin with your right hand. Left hand then does a big rainbow. You can keep your eyes on those left fingertips and then start to reach your left hand towards your right foot. So we've created a nice side bend here. Really good for your spine. We're just staying here for a few breaths. So start to encourage that deep belly breathing again. You'll notice each time you breathe in, you're intensifying that stretch in the side of your body. And each time you breathe out, you're letting that tension out of your body. Remember to keep gazing up at that left hand. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes and just drop into the sensations here. We'll use our next inhalation now to reverse completely out of the pose, coming back to sit in the center. So we'll repeat that now, taking it over towards the left side. So when you're ready, you can inhale, reaching your fingers towards the ceiling, lengthening up your spine. Rotate to look over your left leg, and then as you exhale, hinging at your hips, dropping your hands down wherever feels best for you. Remembering that gentle flex within your left foot, and you can always keep your left knee bent. Now just noticing how the pose feels in your body. feeling that opening within your right side this time. Encouraging your long, deep belly breaths. And we'll just drop into the pose here. Each inhalation lengthening your spine. Each exhalation gently dropping your nose towards your knee. And each time your thoughts drift away, just gently stopping them and bringing them back here to your body. We'll move towards our side bend now. So if you're happy here, you can just stay here. Otherwise, you can take your left hand, bring it to the inside of your left foot, or shin rather, and maybe your left forearm comes to the mat, maybe not. Another option is just to keep your left hand holding onto your left shin. Right arm then swings back slowly, making our rainbow. Look up at your right fingertips and then start to reach that right hand towards your left foot. And try to keep your chest rotated towards the ceiling. Just keeping the body open here. And again, don't worry about how this looks. Focusing on how it feels, and just remember that the more you practice, the more flexible you will become, and the closer you can take those hands to your feet. But again, it doesn't matter. And feeling those feelings now within your right side, connecting to your breath. Letting your breath and gravity open up your body here. Take one more big breath in. A nice slow controlled breath out. Your next inhalation can lift you slowly back up, coming back to center. We're taking our feet in together now, making our way into a seated forward fold. So stay up on your block or your cushion if you need to. Then when you're ready, we're inhaling to lift the hands up, lengthening your spine. Exhaling, hinging at your hips, dropping your hands down, again, wherever they land. It might be either side of your legs, or they can just come to rest on your shins. Maybe they find your toes, maybe not. Again here, keep as much of a bend in your knees as you need to in order to keep your spine straight. We just want to avoid that curving of the spine. We'll get a much more effective stretch if we can keep that spine straight. Once you've found your most comfortable pose, find your breath. And just like before, each inhalation lengthens your spine, creates space between your vertebrae, and each exhalation helps you to sink your nose a little bit closer to your knees. In this seated forward fold, we are stretching out your spine. You've probably also noticed a stretch within your hamstrings, which is also really beneficial for your spine. And just like with the hips, when your hamstrings are tight, tends to contract all of the muscles within your back as well, making everything tight and can even cause some pain within your back. So if your goal is to get a nice flexible spine, it's also good to work on your hamstrings and your hips as well. And I do have some flexibility videos for the hips and the hamstrings, so you can check those out too. Checking in on your body again, maybe it's inviting you to go a little bit deeper, but always respecting its limitations, never trying to force yourself into certain shapes. It'll all come in time. Now just one or two more breaths here. Use your next inhalation to lift yourself back up. If you're sitting on a block or cushion, you can remove it for now. And we'll come into reverse tabletop. So you can have your feet about hip distance apart, bring your shoulders up towards your ears, and then drop your palms behind you with your fingers facing your body. When you're ready, we're lifting the hips up towards the ceiling to make our reverse tabletop pose. And then you can drop your head gently back. Keep your hips nice and high. We're just stretching out the front of the body after folding forward on it for so long. Take a nice deep breath in. 3, 2, 1. And then slowly bringing your hips back down to the ground. You can swing those legs back behind you now. We're going to come to lie on the front of the body. And then once you're there, we'll set ourselves up for Sphinx pose. So feet are about hip distance apart or wider. And then you can have your forearms on the mat in front of you. Check in that your elbows are either under your shoulders or in front of your shoulders. Fingers are spread wide apart, and you can gently grip the mat with your finger pads. Start to lift the crown of your head up towards the ceiling so your chest is shining out in front of you. So imagine that there are headlamps on your chest and that you want to be able to see everything in front of you. So you need to keep those headlamps lifted. That was a bit weird. I hope that is clear. So we're starting to energetically pull the fingers towards the body. That's going to help to push the heart forward and open up the chest. You can keep your neck as neutral as possible just by looking out in front of you, or you might take your gaze slightly down onto the floor out in front of your mat. And we're just finding our breath here, relaxing into the pose as best we can. Each inhalation spreads your belly across the mat. And then we're still using those nice controlled exhalations. Remember to keep the crown of your head pushing towards the ceiling, relaxing your shoulders down away from your ears. And we're stretching and targeting the spine from a different approach here. So another different movement of your spine. Keep your attention focused on that spine, sending your breath down along it, helping to open it up and release all of the tension from those back muscles. And take a moment just to check in on the muscles in the back of your body, especially your glutes. You may have started to clench your glutes, and if you have, just loosen them up again. Keep your fingers pulling towards your body. Keep your chest shining forward. Just a few more breaths here. Now when you're ready, we'll start to slowly come down out of the pose. You can just come to lie on the front of your body, whatever way is most comfortable. You can make a little pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead or a cheek onto your pillow. We'll just take a few breaths here, letting the body digest the pose that we've just done. Just checking into those new sensations. When you're ready now, we'll come back into extended cobra this time. So your palms can come next to your chest. Feet are hip distance apart or wider. Keep your fingers spread and keep your finger pads pressing into the mat. This time we're just scooping up, lifting our upper body up off the mat. Keep your elbows bent here. Look out in front of you, or if it feels comfortable for your neck, you could take your gaze diagonally up. And we're not staying here for too long. Again, we're just stretching out your spine again here in a different way. Take nice long breaths in and out, sending your breath all the way down to your tailbone. Keep your shoulders relaxing down away from your ears. One more long breath in. And this time as you exhale, you can start to bring yourself back down. Just relaxing on your belly again for a few breaths, whatever way is most comfortable for you. And just let your breath work through whatever sensations that we've dug up from these poses. Exhaling away any residue that's left over. Now when you're ready to come back, you can start to slowly lift yourself back up. And we're going to come to lie on our backs again. So making our way back down, having your hips in the center of your mat. We're coming into banana pose now. So we'll extend the arms up past the head, making the body nice and long. And then walk both of your feet into the bottom right corner of your mat. Keep your hips as much in the center of the mat as you can. And you can even have your hands on your hips just to make sure they don't move. We're walking both shoulders over to the top right corner of the mat. And if your arms are not already extended, you can do so. Your hands are reaching towards the top right corner of your room. So you can see why it's called banana pose. We've created this curve in the body. Starting to notice the stretch all along the left side. Use your breath to deepen that stretch. And exhaling to release any tightness from the body. We'll take a few more breaths on this side, so make them the best breaths that you've taken so far today. Really opening up your rib cage, your side body. When you're ready now, we'll take that to the other side. So you can step both feet into the bottom left corner of your mat. Keep your hips in the center. Again, use your hands here if you need to. And then we're picking up the shoulders, walking both of them over towards the top left corner, extending our hands towards the top left corner of your room. Settling into this side now, starting to feel the right side of your body stretch. Using the breath to make it even more of a juicy stretch. Taking another little check-in on your mind here. See if it's drifting into the past or the future. And if it is, just take it back here to the present. Focusing on your breath and on that stretching sensation. When you're ready, you can come back to center, feet in the center of the mat, shoulders back. You can bring your arms back down alongside your body. Taking a brief moment here just to notice how the body's feeling. Finding a nice big breath in and out. And we'll end our practice now with the supine twist. So we're bringing the sole of the right foot up onto the left thigh and then grab that knee with your left hand. Right hand reaches up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're stacking your hips on top of each other to bring your knee over towards the left side of the mat, and you can release your right arm back down to the right. Nice straight line between your right shoulder and your right hand. We want to check in on that right shoulder, make sure it hasn't lifted up off the mat. Keep it connected to the ground. You can either gaze up at the ceiling, or for more of a twist, you can look over at your right hand. If you feel comfortable here, you can just close your eyes and relax into these new sensations. A little bit more difficult here to create those big belly breaths, but we still want to do so. Keep sending that breath as deep as you can. And each time you exhale, you might be able to encourage your knee a little bit closer to the ground on the left, just making sure to keep that right shoulder connected. Twisting the spine like this is a great way to, of course, keep it flexible, but it's also a great way to prevent injury. A lot of spinal injury happens when we twist in a way that we shouldn't. So when we purposely create these twists, we're helping to avoid those unwanted twists. When you're ready, you can start to reverse out of the pose, coming back to center, sending that foot back out towards the bottom of your mat, taking a breath or two here, maybe noticing the difference between the two sides of your body. And when you're ready, we'll take it to the other side. So this time your left foot comes up onto your right thigh, right hand grabs that top knee, left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Take a big breath in and then exhale to stack your hips on top of each other. Bring your knee over towards the right and release your left arm back down to the left. Looking up or looking to your left hand here. And once you're comfortable, maybe closing your eyes, dropping into the pose here. Check in on your left shoulder this time. Make sure it's still connected to your mat. And if it's lifted off your mat, just reverse out of your twist a little bit until you can keep it on the mat. finding some deep belly breaths, waiting for the body to invite you to go a little bit further. And if it does, you can start to gently press your knee over towards the right a little bit more. Feeling your twist, and also maybe feeling that stretch within your glute, your lower back. Just helping to get rid of that tightness, making everything more flexible. And there's a belief in yoga that the body and the mind mirror each other. So if the body is stiff and inflexible, there's a belief that maybe the mind is also a little bit stiff and inflexible. So I like to think that when we're opening up the body like this, making everything free, we're also freeing up the mind sometimes from those maybe limiting thoughts or even self-destructing thoughts. So you can use this time just to free up your mind as well. And just a few more breaths for this side. When you're ready to come out of the pose, you can make your way back to center. This time, bring both knees up towards your chest. Hug your shins and just give yourself a nice tight squeeze here. And it might feel comfortable to bring your nose towards your knees, making a little ball with the body and really rounding your spine again. And if that's too hard on your neck, you can always just keep your head to the mat. That's fine too. Squeezing away now any last bits of tightness, releasing them from your body. If you don't already have your head on the mat, you can bring it back down now. We'll take our hands onto our kneecaps and we're just making little circles with the knees. Just massaging through the lower back. You can reverse your circles now, going the opposite way. Now when you're ready, you can slowly start to pick yourself back up, coming back into a seat on the mat. Once you're comfortable, you might just bring your palms together at your chest. Maybe close your eyes and bow your head down towards your heart. Find a few deep breaths now, the last of the practice. Exhaling to release any debris of tightness from your body. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. Until next time, namaste.